All right, today we're talking about Re-Animator. Let's just jump right in. All right, so it starts, you're in a hospital. There's like these police guys walking and stuff. All business, you know, they ain't messing around. You hear crying, right? And apparently it's like one of the doctors who's crying. Totally no concern there. It's like this old lady nurse, the fucking police or whatever it is, security probably. They show up. She goes up to the door and she's knocking and she's like, Dr. Gruber. And he's still crying, right? Why they don't just like bust down the door right away, I don't know. I have the movie up again, just like Aquaslash, again, so I can remember, because I watched it Friday, and then Saturday was Bash in Berlin. What? So my mind has been occupied. They're asking for him and stuff, and the director's speaking German or something. I don't know. I think it's Swedish, now that I'm remembering the movie. They're like banging on the door. They're like, hey, dude, open the door. Is everything okay? The subtitles are in Swedish or whatever language it is, so I have absolutely no idea. And then like glass breaks and like he's still crying and like wailing or whatever. And then they decide, all right, we better get in there. You think the crying would have been enough to like, oh, dude, are you all right? And you don't get a response. You got to get in there. So they break the glass. They go, bang, you know, clear the glass out, open the door. They're going in. 100%. They're going in. They go in there, right? It's great. I love it. Okay, they open the door and there's Jeffrey Combs holding a syringe with like a little bit of green liquid in it, right? And the fucking the doctor guy is laying on the ground. He's like, oh, he's spazzing out, right? Okay. Nothing's wrong here. Everyone should just leave. It's fine. Just kidding. It's not. They pull Jeffrey Combs away. Oh, God, I can't remember his name in the movie. Oh, and Jeffrey Combs, the only reason I know who he is, because I haven't seen this before doing this video, right? I know him as Wei-Yun from Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and I can't remember the Andorian's name, but from Enterprise. And he was fantastic in both of those, so I was actually really excited to watch this. So they pull him off of the doctor who's like spazzing out on the ground, right? And the nurse... I have it on a great fucking freeze frame right now. The nurse lady, she goes up to him and she's like, oh, are you all right? He is not all right. He's like, he gets up. Jeffrey Combs like breaks away from like the cops and he's like holding him and stuff. He's like, oh, you know, he's like saying his name or whatever. This guy is fucking his face is fucking purple and there's blood coming out of his mouth. Not a good sign. And then he holds his head like this, right? And his fucking eyes. Oh my gosh. It is haunting to look at. His eyes are closed, right? And they start pulsing out. The vroom, 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 vroom. It can't feel great, right? I can't remember if his head explodes. I don't think it does. No, his eyes explode. That's right. Oh my gosh. And Jeffrey's screaming. Everyone is fucking losing it because nobody wants to see that. That's fucking horrific. You're going to be traumatized the rest of your life if you fucking see something like this, right? So the doctor, everyone's like, oh my gosh. He's holding his head. His eyes are pulsing, right? And then his eyes are still closed. Blood starts like... And it cuts to the nurse and she's like, she's doing like the painting scream, right? Or whatever it is. And blood starts shooting onto her face while she's screaming from obviously her colleague, right? Somebody she probably knows personally, is friends with or whatever. So he falls on the ground. Everyone is like, oh my gosh, what happened? And the police get Jeffrey again. Yeah, they get Jeffrey. Whoever was with the police, I don't fucking know. He goes down. He said something in Swedish. I think it means he's dead. Jeffrey says the most incriminating thing ever. He's like, of course he's dead. The dosage was too large. Bro, you can't say that. And the nurse is like, you killed him. And he's like, nuh-uh. I gave him life. And then just like fucking Aquaslash, you get this incredibly long like beginning sequence. But this was so much more well done. You get like just frames of like people's heads, I guess, like diagrams of like where everything is and what everything is inside of a person's head. I don't need to know that. What the fuck? That's right. I totally forgot about H.P. Lovecraft. So I guess he wrote it before he died or something. I didn't look it up. The Cthulhu guy, I'm pretty sure is who it is, wrote this fucking movie, which aged incredibly well. Like, watch it. It's almost 40 years old, but it is still really well done. Like, you can tell it's an older movie and stuff. Like, we'll get into it later, but like their like laser drill thing, you can fucking see. It's just like an image of a flame pasted into it in editing or whatever. So yeah, Re-Animator, they're going through the fucking opening. It's really well done. It's so much better than Aquaslash. It is still pretty long. This movie is great from start to finish. This movie is great. I had a blast watching it. And a second time so I could try and remember as much as I could. So we get through that, pretty cool opening. Music's good. They cut it all together really nice. Again, too long. I hate that. But regardless, it cuts to like a hospital, right? It goes in. You see one of the main characters, maybe the main character. I would assume Jeffrey Combs is the main character, but I feel like Dean is in it a whole lot more. God, I can't believe I'm starting to remember these people's names. They're like trying to save this like lady, right? Boom, boom, boom. Right? They're going for it. They're gonna save this lady, right? Just kidding. She fucking dies after doing a T-pose. Dean is doing like CPR on her and like they're trying to save this lady, right? And like the main doctor lady who is in the movie like one more time after this or two more times, whatever. She's like, okay, we gotta shock this bitch. Give me pace. Freaking out, right? Because this lady's dying. She fucking flatlined on the monitor. Everyone stops what they're doing because no one wants to fucking get shocked. The lady fucking T-poses when she gets shocked. She goes, "Blah." I found it too funny because she dies. They don't save her. So they fucking zap her, right? Now remember, doctors are only supposed to try to save you a little bit. And Dean gets in trouble for trying to continue to save this lady. They zap her. She T-poses. Nothing's happening. She's still fucking flatlined. So Dean goes back to doing his compresses, right? It's a boom, boom, boom. Well, the main doctor's like, she's gone, stop. Dean stops and she like pulls him to the side, they like cover her up and stuff. They pull him to the side and she's like, listen, your enthusiasm's great, but she's fucking dead. Stop wasting everyone's time. Time is money and this hospital's all about money. Stop trying to save every person. That's basically how the conversation goes. Trust me. And then she's like, tag and bag her. Fucking like bring her down to the morgue or whatever it is, right? So Dean's like, all right, Dean's fucking covered in sweat. You can't have somebody else do it? And he just fucking tried to save this lady and you fucking like stopped him. He like even gave reasons as to like why he's still doing compressions. He's like, the drugs gotta circulate more. We can save her. And the doctor's like, her insurance didn't come back. So, oh my gosh, fucking sweating. Am I? No. So he's like bringing her down to the morgue. Right? Everyone is used to dead bodies. It's a hospital. That's not strange or anything. I'm not saying that. He's pushing her down. He sees the security guard and they're like, what's up, bro? And he's like, the door's not locked. That comes into play twice, I think, later on. Yeah, twice. Definitely twice. Fucking the security guard says the creepiest thing. I don't know why they lock these doors. Nobody wants in and nobody comes out. Why you gotta say it like that? And when people do go in, this guy's gotta go in, and there's like, I'm pretty sure there's like 2 doctors in there doing like surgery on like a corpse or something, trying to figure something out. I ran out of air. He brings her in, right? And then we get the porch thing that I talked about earlier with like the PNG fucking slapped on it. Dean is like, he's a medical student. We'll get into that a little bit later because it doesn't matter too much, right? They're just trying to show here that Dean has access to the morgue. I feel like if you're watching this, you'd know everything that happens. Doesn't matter. We're moving on. They're blowtorching this guy, right? Dean is like looking, because again, he's a student. This is what he wants to do with his life. It's a good profession. And again, you get the bad blowtorch scene. It's fine, right? Dean brings them into the morgue, and he's like, damn, oh, fucking bodies in here. He says full house, but regardless. He does the most unsanitary thing I've ever seen in a fucking movie. There's a guy's corpse arm thing. His arm is hanging out, right, from the bag. He's like, oh, he's dead. Well, Dean needs to push that lady's corpse next to that one, right? So Dean he hesitates a little bit, but he doesn't like grab a glove or like even a sheet or piece of paper, fucking anything, right? He just grabs the dude's arm with his like fingers without gloves, like puts it back up, and you can totally see the guy under the bag breathing. Like that dude didn't even try to hold his breath. Yeah, gosh, him grabbing it fucking really bothers me. At least he wipes his hands on like his scrub. Still, regardless, it was weird. I didn't like it. So the arm falls again. He's like, oh, still dead. Dean doesn't touch it again, but he's grossed out by it too because he just touched a dead body without fucking... They never show him wash his hands. That's gross. So we get to see the, I guess, main brain surgeon or morgue guy. He's a doctor. He's a big deal doctor. You see him like, he drills that hole in the head, right? Which comes into play later. It's actually pretty important for the story, him being able to do that. He like dips a fucking Q-tip in his brain and he goes, scoops it out, right? It's got nasty stuff on it. And he like hands it to somebody, right? And then we get introduced to Dean Halsey and Herbert West. Now we've officially learned Jeffrey Combs' name in this. But Dean Halsey, he's like the head of the hospital, president of the hospital. I'm not quite sure how the hierarchy works in a hospital. I think chairman is probably the right term. So they come in, right? Jeffrey starts fucking looking at like specimens and jars and stuff. He's doing his own thing, right? He doesn't give a fuck that nobody else is in there. He didn't care. After what happened in the beginning, Jeffrey obviously can't stay because he legit killed that guy. 100%. That's what I'm thinking, right? Jeffrey, now he's going to go to school with Dean. Poor fucking Dean. Dude, his life gets turned upside down fucking immediately after meeting fucking Herbert West. So they're introducing each other, right? Dean goes in for like a handshake, but Jeffrey's like, did you just touch a fucking dead body with that? He doesn't say that, but he totally ignores the handshake. And Jeffrey's easily the most evil looking guy in the room. Yeah. He ignores the handshake. He goes past to look at the dead body. And then like we get the other doctor guy who is fucking creepy in this movie. And if you know, you know. If you don't, you're going to find out if you just stay tuned, I guess. Whatever. So Dean, the chairman, is like, oh, you're going to like this. He used to work with Hans Gruber, which is the doctor that we saw in the beginning going, oh, and his fucking eyeballs, you know. He's like, oh, Mr. West, you know, this is, what's his fucking name, dude? Dr. Carl Hill. Herbert West has a big problem with this fucking guy. Apparently this guy stole Mr. Gruber's work, or Dr. Gruber, sorry, Dr. Gruber's work. Everywhere outside of America, his work is considered plagiarized because it's fucking literally someone else's work. It's Gruber's work. Anyway, they don't like each other. Or Jeffrey, what? Fuck, dude, I cannot decide what to call him. We're just going to call him Jeffrey. Jeffrey starts talking to this guy. Like, by the way, this is his, like, teacher. He's going to be teaching him and, like, grading his, like, classwork and stuff. Well, fucking Jeffrey ain't taking no shit. And he's got some shit to say. Like, they introduce each other. I think Jeffrey does shake his hand. Let me make sure on that. They don't shake hands. So Jeffrey's like, he's talking to the surgeon, and he's like, oh, I know your work pretty well. It's considered plagiarized on the rest of the fucking world, by the way. And the surgeon is fucking not happy to see this guy. Well, Jeffrey's not done. He starts talking about, like, the fucking 12-minute death brain thingy, whatever, and how it's outdated. They don't like each other, right? And then the surgeon, like, corrects him, and he goes, 6 to 12 minutes, mister. And then, well, Jeffrey still ain't done, even though he got a little thing wrong, right? Jeffrey is like, oh, and the fucking will being in the brain or whatever it is, the human will. Well, sure, that's fucking outdated, too. You're outdated, you old son of a bitch. And then we get a little bit of an important thing that I never took the time to read. It is very important. So Dean, is it Dan? I'm just gonna call him Dean. Fucking swear his name is Dean in this movie. It says Dan Kane, though. Anyway, Dean, he puts up, like, on a poster board that he's got an apartment to share, right? He needs a roommate. Okay, he's a college student. He ain't got no fucking money. Then this girl shows up. Fucking hell. This girl shows up, and she's obviously Dean's, like, girlfriend and stuff. And he, like, starts kissing her, and she's like, no, stop. And then it cuts to them sleeping together. Whatever, okay? And then something I fucking hate that bothered me both times watching this fucking movie, right? So they're finished doing what they were doing. She gets up, and she's like, I gotta go. My dad knows I'm here. And fucking Dean goes, okay, what's, no, Dean is the other guy. He says the guy's fucking full name to his daughter. He's like, oh, what's Dean Halsey gonna do about it? Why not just, why say the full name? That, whatever reason, it bothered me bringing that up. Saying the full name like that. You don't need to say that. What's wrong with you? What would Dean Halsey have to do? I feel like it was purely for the movie. That they wanted us to know that she's the daughter of the chairman. Apparently he's like a big traditionalist, right? He wants his daughter to like wait till marriage and stuff. So she'll get in big trouble if she spends the night. They're talking, and then like she's like, okay, once you graduate college and you get your fucking doctorate, I'll marry you. Definitely not a red flag, right? That you have to fucking graduate college for her to be interested. She says that, blah, blah, blah. They're talking a little bit. And then he puts a sheet over his head and he goes, whoa! And he like starts chasing her around. He's naked, by the way, but he's got the sheet over him, right? Like he's a ghost. And they're having fun. It's cute, whatever. Well, she goes to the door, right? She opens the door because again, she's trying to leave. He turns around. Fucking Jeffrey Combs is right there. Like a Bond villain. He's like, oh, hello. She screams, obviously, because there's a fucking random stranger right in front of her door. He holds up the card that Dan, we're just going to call him Dan, because now I'm fucking getting upset with myself about it, that Dan put on the poster board for the apartment to share. Dan, he's like, oh, somebody there? He fucking takes off his thing. Again, he's naked. And he's like, oh, shit. And he starts like wrapping himself up, you know, whatever it takes to cover himself with a sheet. And they're like, what the fuck do you want? And Jeffrey's like, I got this thing. I want to live here. Do you have a basement? I'll take it. Like, he gets a private room, and they have a basement and he needs a lab. That's cool, whatever. You know what? I totally fucking forgot to bring something up. They have a cat. Dan has a cat. His name is Rufus. He interrupts their fun time, right? And he's like, you good for nothing piece of shit. I love you, cat. He loves this cat, right? Okay. Dan and Megan are engaged. Her and Jeffrey, they're talking. Jeffrey's like, did I startle you? She's like, yeah. Yeah, you fucking did, you fucking weirdo. Jeffrey's weird throughout the whole movie. He's like quiet and just super to the point. So he's like, do you have a basement? And he's like, ooh, can I see it? And he's like, this is perfect. And then so they're in the basement, right? And Jeffrey's like, I'll take it. Megan turns around. Megan followed them down, right? Because she can't fucking mind her business in this movie. I'm bringing it up now. She can't mind her fucking business. She turns around. She looks at Dan and she's like, oh, we'll probably need to talk about it. We'll need to talk about it, you know, like, oh, let's not be hasty. We have to decide. And Jeffrey's like, oh, I've decided. He pulls out a wad of cash. And Dan, being a college student, he's like, even though his fiance was like, no, don't let him in. Dan's like, give me that fucking money. You got a deal. Jeffrey even tells them, he's like, you'll never even know I'm here. You'll never see me except on the first. She does not look happy. She had every right to not be happy about this, which again, we'll get into later. So it cuts, right? And they're in the morgue again, right? Well, the main surgeon guy, the real creepy guy, he's like cutting up a head. He's like, yeah, this is what you got to do. You got to peel it back like an orange. I don't know why he's like trying to make jokes when peeling somebody's fucking scalp off. It's not funny. You're a creep, dude. Everyone laughs though, except for Jeffrey. Jeffrey is, he does not fucking like this guy, right? And now he's having to like listen to a class on this guy. He grabs a bone saw. He's like cutting the head up. He's like, swing. Cool. Jeffrey ain't having any of it. This guy pulls out a brain. I'm trying to see what he says. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, shit. This dude fucking starts pulling out a brain, and he's holding it like that's fucking normal. It probably is for medical students. Okay, whatever. Jeffrey, I don't understand why this disrupted the class as much as it did, but Jeffrey holds up his pencil once the guy says like 6 to 12 minutes. Jeffrey goes like this. He goes, break. He breaks his pencil, and he's looking like super intense. Like he fucking hates this guy with everything he has. He's like, The doctor is like stunned that he broke his pencil. Well, Jeffrey, he puts the broken pencil down. He pulls out a new pencil, and he's holding it like this, right? He's ready to break it again. Okay. Jeffrey breaks his second pencil because the doctor was talking about, he's like, maybe it takes obsessive desire or something. And it seems like right before he says the word will, Jeffrey breaks the pencil again. He's nah! The doctor is fucking furious about this. Even his face, we'll finish this class tomorrow or something. And Mr. West, I suggest you fucking get a pen, you piece of shit. He's pissed. He is fucking pissed about the whole situation. They end the class, right? The doctor, he's starting to clean it. Everyone's getting ready to leave. Everyone's leaving, right? Well, Jeffrey slams his like binder down and stuff and books, and he comes up. He's like, "How can you teach this fucking bullshit to these kids? You know, you're closing off their minds before they have a chance to open them." And then the doctor, he gets all defensive and stuff, and he says, "I can't wait to fucking fail you, you fucking asshole." And they leave. And then it cuts to a dinner, right? And everything seems normal. It's like celebratory because the hospital got its biggest grant ever. Ooh, money! They talk about the laser drill again, which again is pretty important in the story. This is our first like real sign that the fucking surgeon guy is a super creep. So everyone kind of knows that Dan and Megan are dating because Megan's like, oh, I can't drink, I have a study date. Her dad is totally cool with it. He's like, okay, have fun. Well, the fucking surgeon is not. He's like, why the fuck don't you study here? The dad is like, this is fucking a little weird. Then Dan shows up to like take Megan back to his place for their study date. And the doctor, he's still super upset. And then he like does a toast thing to Megan's beauty and how everyone is so in love with you because you are perfect. And please let me smell your hair. We're going to talk about the hair later because that the only reason I brought it up because it comes in later, right? Super creepy. The way he says it is super fucking creepy. I was watching it and I was like, that's weird. Why did he do that? I found out later. So it cuts. They're back at Dan's place, right? Dan tries to, he tries to put the moves on Megan. Megan is like, no, she's super uncomfortable. One, because Jeffrey Combs is somewhere in the apartment, right? Or he lives there, whatever. He's not there right now, though. She's fucking weirded out. You could tell she was weirded out during the toast about her beauty, and it seems like it's still bothering her, okay? They start talking about how weird Jeffrey is and stuff. Jeffrey's kind of a fucking weirdo. She's really bothered by Jeffrey. And then they, start talking about Rufus, the cat. And she's looking around, she's like, what? Where the fuck is Rufus? And Dan, because, you know, he wants to do stuff, he's like, who fucking knows? The cat's always fucking hiding and stuff. Apparently Rufus hates fucking Jeffrey. And then they start looking for Rufus, right? Because neither of them have actually seen it. Well, the lady who can't mind her fucking business, she fucking goes into Jeffrey's room. And his little mini fridge is kind of, it's open. It's pretty open, right? Well, Rufus is dead in the fridge, right? Rufus, the cat, is dead in the freezer. And she's like, oh my gosh, you know, oh my gosh. Well, to her horror, Jeffrey is standing right behind her like this, all menacingly. He's like, why the fuck are you in my fucking room? Yeah. No, he doesn't do that. He's upset that she's in the room. And then Dan comes in. He's like, oh my gosh. And Megan's like, oh my gosh, Rufus is in the fridge. And Jeffrey he's so upset that she came into his room. And he's like, I thought I fucking rented a private room. Dan, you fucking piece of shit. And like Jeffrey says something to her and Dan's like, hey, fucking watch it, dude. You know, it's my fiance. And then Dan like leans down, he sees Rufus, he's like, oh my gosh. And Jeffrey, again, like a total fucking sociopath, is like, I was going to tell you. And Dan is like, shut the fuck up for a second, dude. I'm trying to consider if I'm gonna kill you or not, right? Because he loved that cat. And Jeffrey's like, I didn't want you to find it like this. You know, I was going to tell you, I know you don't want to find it in a fucking freezer. I know you were fond of the beast. He like keeps calling it the beast. He's not very nice or sympathetic about it. And Dan's like, you could have left a note. And Jeffrey says, probably the smartest thing ever. And he's like, oh, what would the note say, Dan? Cat dead, details later? And Dan's like, oh, I guess that's a good point. And fucking Megan does the same thing the nurse did in the beginning. She's like, you killed him. He never liked you, so you killed him. And Jeffrey's like, no, I didn't. He suffocated. He put his head in the jar after digging through the trash like the beast he is. It cuts. So Dan is sleeping, right? And then you fucking hear the cat. It's like, rah, you know, the cat is freaking out, right? But the cat's dead. How could this be? Well, Dan does a smart thing, right? He grabs a fucking baseball bat and he's like looking around. He's trying to wake Jeffrey up. He's like, do you fucking hear that, dude? Something's wrong. He can't. Jeffrey's not in his room, right? So Dan, who fucking lives here, so I don't know why he did this. The basement door is locked, right? He's like, it's locked. So he breaks it down and boom, 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 he breaks it down. He put a little too much force into it. He broke it down so hard he started falling down the stairs. He falls down the stairs. Fucking Jeffrey is being attacked. Jeffrey's being attacked by the cat. And like Jeffrey's like, he's fucked up. He's got like a big scratch on his face. There's blood on his head. And the cat's on his back. And Jeffrey's like, fucking Kane, help! Or not Kane, Dan, help me, you know? Fucking Jeffrey, he tears the cat off of his back. His back is all fucked up. Like, that's gotta sting, you know? And fucking Jeffrey, he throws it like it's an Olympic sport. He goes, wha-cha! Right? And the cat crashes and stuff, and now it's like running around. And Dan, of course, asks a question. He's like, what the fuck? And Jeffrey's like, fucking later, dude. We gotta deal with this shit. We gotta get this motherfucker. He scratched me. He has to die. They're looking for the cat. Jeffrey starts beating the shit out of a box. Yeah. They're still looking for the cat and stuff. It's like jumping around the room. Well, the fucking cat, he comes out and wah! He screams. The cat is fucking screaming, right? Not naturally. It's rah, you know, it gets closer. Fucking Dan, he fucking grabs that shit and he throws that shit against the wall and like pieces of the cat go like this. They go, beep, and the cat falls down, right? And then Dan turns around to Jeffrey and he's like, you know, what the fuck just happened? And Jeffrey does totally not what a psychopath would do. He goes, look out! Dan turns around with his baseball bat. He's like, oh, he's looking for the cat again. The cat's fucking dead. And Jeffrey starts cackling. I got you, buddy. Little friendly prank on my roommate. It cuts, right? And they're both like sitting at like the lab table that Jeffrey had set up with the cat, right? The dead cat is now on the table, and it's fucked up. It's gross, right? And Jeffrey is trying to explain to Dan, hey, I brought your cat back from the dead. And fucking Dan is like, I don't believe you, dude. But Dan is also, like, he says, like, you fucking lowered its vital signs and you kept it cold so we would think it's dead. You know, you can't bring shit back to life. He fucking loved this cat. And now he thinks that Jeffrey fucking, like, gave it drugs and like hid it away and stuff for later or whatever. How is he not attacking Jeffrey? Jeffrey's like, do you agree that it's fucking dead now? And Dan is like, well, yeah. So fucking Jeffrey, he pulls out a bottle of fucking like this super green liquid. He like puts it in a syringe and he's like, watch this, dude. Bam! He fucking shoves that shit into the cat's brain. He like pumps it full of that drug or whatever it is. And he like gets behind Dan in case the fucking cat starts freaking out again. And he's like, don't expect it to fucking tango. Its back is broken. And the cat's like, fuck, help me, please. The cat is in so much pain. And Dan is like, well, why does it fucking sound like that? And Jeffrey's like, birth is always painful. Anyway, fucking Megan, the girl who can't mind her own fucking business, she fucking pops her head in. And so what she sees is basically this fucking cat that has like its organs out and stuff, and it's like spine broken, and it's like it's screaming in pain, you know. And Dan's like, all right, let's go upstairs. And Jeffrey again does not look happy to fucking see her. She just will not mind her fucking business. It cuts to Dan in Dean Halsey's office, the chairman, right? And he's like trying to explain to him what happened and what he saw, right? Well, the chairman is fucking furious about it for some reason. He's like, you fucking expect me to believe this drivel? Your fucking scholarship, or not scholarship, your loan, I'm taking it away. No more college. Dan is like, oh, you're gonna take away my scholarship, dude? Or fucking my loan? I won't be able to continue school. That's not how you fucking beg for something. This is how you beg.
I will suck your fucking dick. I will do it.
Fucking Dean, the fucking chairman guy, is like, get the fuck out of my office, dude. We're done. So Dan, it cuts to like Dan in his scrubs. He's like wheeling another body down to the morgue. And the security guard, he tries to like peek under the hood of like, what's the dead body? And Dan is like, oh, they were hit by a semi-truck. And the security guard reasonably is like, I don't want to fucking see that, dude. Puts the cover back down. They get in there, they close the door, they lock it. It's Jeffrey Combs. He was under the sheet. You know. Jeffrey fucking really wants to put his shoes on. Like, they get out, they don't have a lot of time, but Jeffrey's like, I gotta put my shoes on. The lace goes this way, the lace goes that way, right? Anyway, what they're there for is to bring a person back to life to prove that their theory is real. It's not really a theory if it fucking works, but whatever. They go into like the morgue where all the bodies are, and they're looking for the freshest sample, because I guess it can't be too old or it won't work. Which, I get that. Okay. But they pick the fucking superhuman athlete. This fucking giant guy who's like fucking shredded. They picked the strongest guy in the fucking world, right? Even after all the damage the cat was able to do to Jeffrey, right? They're like, oh, this guy's fucking perfect. This giant strong guy. So Dan is fucking, he's talking into a recorder to like have proof of what's happening. Jeffrey starts fucking getting like 12 cc's, I think. He injects it into the guy's brain. He's like, plow, boom. He gets it in the brain, right? The guy doesn't move. And Jeffrey is fucking pissed. So he just fucking puts a whole shit ton into the syringe and fucking stabs him again and pushes it in. And then they both like, still nothing happens. And they both kind of get up. And then this fucking guy, he starts like, oh. He starts twitching, right? Well, he gets up. And just like the fucking cat, he's upset that he's been brought back to fucking life. He's been reanimated. The chairman brings Megan into the hospital, and they're like, have you fucking seen Dan? He's not supposed to be doing anything right now. The nurse who lets all her patients die, she's like, I'll take care of Megan, you go find him, right? So the chairman, he's walking around, he's trying to find Dean and Jeffrey, right? Or Dan and Jeffrey. Anyway, I had to bring that up because it's important. We cut back to what's happening in the morgue. And this fucking guy, dude, this fucking giant fucking hulked out guy, he's got these fucking veins coming all around his face. He's like, and blood's coming out of his mouth. That seems to be a common occurrence with this situation. Blood in the mouth. And he's pissed. He's fucking throwing shit. Fucking grabbing fucking everybody and fucking hurting. He's hurting everybody, right? Because they picked the strongest human in the world. Well, the chairman makes it down to the morgue. He stomps down, right? And he can hear them screaming and stuff because they're locked in now in a room with this fucking like killer Hulk guy who's been injected with an experimental drug to bring the dead back to life. So he's like banging on the door. Well, the Hulk out guy, he fucking breaks the door down, and the chairman is like this. He's under the door now, and they play the funniest like crunching sound when the big hulked out guy is like walking over the door, crushing the chairman. He's like, you know. Well, the Hulk out guy moves the door off of the chairman, and fuck it. Now he's after the chairman. He starts fucking him up. He goes, boom, pow, bing, dong. He fucking kills him. He kills the chairman. Fuck, I forgot about the fingers. Not before biting his fucking fingers off. Because the chairman obviously is trying to defend himself. He's like this. Well, this guy fucking bites a bunch of his fingers off. And it looked like it fucking hurt. Right? The makeup, by the way, is fucking great. They did a very good job with the makeup, especially on the Hulk out guy. So Dan is trying to get the Hulk out guy to stop because earlier in the thing, the guy who was dead, he listened for a second. He was like, oh, what's up, guys? Yeah, he's trying to get him to stop. Fucking Jeffrey is breaking a bunch of shit. He brings out a fucking bone saw. And meanwhile, the fucking Hulk out guy is ragdolling the fucking chairman who only cares about money and his daughter, I guess. He's like, wah. Jeffrey comes up behind him and he's like, I got this. Nee. Fucking pushes the bone saw through the guy's chest. He's like, ah. Collapses and stuff. And then they do the most logical thing, or at least Jeffrey does. So Jeffrey, very excited that a fresh dead body is now there. The chairman. He's like, starts dragging him to the fucking morgue table or whatever it is. And Dan is obviously traumatized. His future father-in-law and stuff is dead on the ground. Dan is essentially curling up. He's fucking so stressed out about it. And Jeffrey's like, are you gonna help me or not, dude? That guy was obviously dead too long. We have a fresh one right here. Jeffrey starts manipulating him. Do you want to go to fucking jail? And then he's like, okay, that didn't work. We can bring him back. We can bring him back to life. Dan helps. They get him on the fucking table. They put him on the table. And Jeffrey, he does his thing with the syringe and swoop, pop. Well, fucking Megan, she escapes the evil nurse from the beginning who lets all her patients die. So they inject him, right? He's like, oh, he comes back. He's trying to speak. Jeffrey's very concerned about the recorder. He's like, the recorder, we gotta get it. Well, the fucking chairman, he grabs both of them and he's like, he's all upset, going crazy like they've all fucking done. Megan fucking bursts in the room again because she can't mind her own fucking business. I'm just saying. She bursts in the room and she's like, Daddy! And the fucking chairman, he fucking lets him go and he runs to a corner. He's like, ooh. He's crying and shit. The security guard fucking makes it back and he's like, what the fuck happened? So the chairman is crying in a corner and Jeffrey's he puts a coat over him or something, I think. Everyone's trying to figure out what happened. Jeffrey is fucking, the chairman came in and he was acting all crazy. And he attacked us. And of course Megan is like, what? No, he fucking didn't. And Dan is so traumatized, he fucking doesn't know what to do. He's like, Anyway, they end up believing Jeffrey about what he was talking about. Dan fucking collapses to the floor and Jeffrey fucking puts a blanket over him, right? Oh my gosh. So he puts the blanket over Dan. And Jeffrey leans in first to get the fucking tape recorder and he's like, don't worry, you're just in shock. And then it cuts to the chairman in a straitjacket in a little padded room and he's still fucking freaking out. He's like, boom, pa, one-way glass so that they can't fucking see each other because he would freak out or something. And now we get into creepo mode part 2 with the fucking surgeon guy. Now remember, Megan's dad is the chairman. And he's reanimated in the fucking room, right? Freaking out. So the surgeon guy and Megan, they're in the room, right? And what the surgeon wants is he wants permission to fucking do surgery on her dad's brain to see what's wrong, The Megan's like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure she fucking ends up signing it away, right? They talk for a little bit. She goes back up to the window, looking at her father, who fucking is freaking out, having fucking mental breakdown in there. And the fucking surgeon, he decides now is the best time to fucking make his move on Megan. Oh my gosh. So creepy. He's like, if you're ever feeling lonely or anything, flexing, he's like, you could maybe hold on to these. He does stuff like that. He's just being super creepy. You ever need someone to talk to and stuff. And then he starts getting in her way and she starts leaning back to the glass as she looks fucking freaked out. She's like, well, the fucking chairman guy, Megan's dad, he slams his head against the glass and fucking shocks Megan and Megan leaves, right? Well, so Megan, after her dad slams into the glass, Megan leaves and the doctor is like, damn it, he's so pissed off because in his fucking warped ass mind, he was like, I was so close to having Megan. He's so upset at her dad, he fucking sends in 2 giant nurses to fucking try to wrestle him down so that he could do the surgery on him. He's so upset. I found it so fucking funny that fucking the doctor he's like, fuck you, you piece of shit. Anyway. Okay, so we cut. Megan goes home to her house, not Dan's. But Dan is there. He was like waiting for her, right? Very romantic. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry about what happened and stuff. This wasn't my intention, yada yada stuff. Well, she starts beating on him. She's like, pow, 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 like on his chest. Motherfucker, I don't care who you are or what you're going through. You do that to me, you're getting one of these. I go, don't ever fucking hit me. No excuses. Violence is never okay. And she's like, oh, I want to know what happened. And he's like, I don't know. Anyway, we're moving on to the good stuff, which is Jeffrey. This is like one of my favorite parts of the movie because, I don't know, we're about to talk about it. I had a great time with this. All right. So Jeffrey's like, he's at a microscope and stuff, and he's like studying in the basement at Dan's place. Well, the fucking creepo fucking surgeon, he starts walking down the stairs and he goes, Mr. West, like a fucking supervillain, right? Or a Bond villain, I guess would be better. And Jeffrey's like, oh, what do you want? And he's like, well, we both know Dean Halsey's dead. And Jeffrey's like, oh. Anyway, fucking, just like he stole Macgrubber's work, or not Macgrubber, sorry, just like he stole Gruber's work, he wants to steal Jeffrey's work. Well, Jeffrey is a fucking known psychopath. All right, if you've watched the movie, you fucking know. Do not trust this fucking guy. He's a manipulator, gaslighter, fucking everything, right? All right, anyway, he like wants to see what happens, and so he's got cat flesh like under the microscope. Really gross. I don't even like saying it, cat flesh. And he's like, oh, I want to see how it works, my new discovery. That's what the surgeon says, right? Jeffrey obviously did not like that. He didn't like that he was being blackmailed either. So what happens is the movie fucking cuts away on part of it to like show that Megan and Dan are back in the surgeon's room, right? The surgeon is like looking through his notes while like Jeffrey starts getting stuff ready with like the serum and stuff or whatever. The cat flesh is under the microscope, and Jeffrey he squirts some in to like the cat flesh so you could like see it under the microscope, like what happens with it. The doctor, or not the doctor, the creepo surgeon is looking at it and he's like, hey, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Well, Jeffrey's like backing up. He's doo-doo. He's backing up. He grabs a fucking looks like a big metal snow long scoop shovel, right? He fucking grabs the shovel and he's fucking walking up behind him. This fucking surgeon must think he's invincible to not assume that Jeffrey is gonna fucking try and stop this guy from blackmailing him and stealing his discovery. So Jeffrey fucking goes whack. He fucking hits the surgeon with the shovel, right? Great. Fuck that guy, right? Well, Jeffrey ain't done. Instead of just tying him up and sending him away or something, Jeffrey does the next logical thing and fucking decapitates the surgeon with the shovel in a fucking fantastic kill. It was fantastic. Jeffrey, he puts the shovel on his neck and he's like, yeah, and now Jeffrey tried to hide what he had done? No, of course not. What do? You bring the fucker weirdo surgeon back to life. Jeffrey's like, I've never done it to two separate pieces before. So Jeffrey picks up the head, fucking really gross, right? He walks over, he puts it in a tin, a pan, and the head keeps going think, think, think. That pisses Jeffrey off. Jeffrey pulls out this long the only thing I can consider it to, I know it's for notes. You put paper notes on it. A spike. Anyway, Jeffrey takes the notes off and he puts the head in the spike and it stands up and Jeffrey's like, yeah. Jeffrey gives the head, just the head, right, a dose of the Re-Animator serum or Re-Animate serum, whatever it is. He gives him a dose of the serum and then he goes to the corpse on the ground and gives that a dose of the serum as well. See what happens. They go through the time. He looks at the dead body. He turns back around. He looks at the head. The eyes are open. Jeffrey, being the scientist that he is, he's asking a question how do you feel and stuff. Well, the head isn't fucking having it. The creepo doctor. He's like, you bastard! As well as you could talk while only being a head. Well, he can still control his body apparently. His body is up and it's like this. And the body grabs Jeffrey's head and they go dunk onto the fucking table and Jeffrey's knocked out, right? That was fucking funny. They just knocked Jeffrey out real quick, right? Okay, good. Here we go. I want to talk about this fucking creepo folder that this dude has. So then it cuts, right? Jeffrey's knocked out. Then it cuts back to Megan and Dan, creepo surgeon's office where her dad is being held. Well, Megan, again, not being able to mind her own business, is walking around and decides to go in the room with the crazy reanimated guy, which again is her dad, so I guess she has enough reason. Okay, I get it. Okay. Well, while she's fucking going in there, which is ill-advised because he could be crazy and like attack her. Anyway, Dan also apparently can't mind his own business, starts going through the fucking creepo surgeon's folders, and he finds one on Megan. And the fucking, in the folder, right? Dan opens it up. It's like clips from like her in high school and stuff from like a newspaper, a lock of her hair, and what looks like either like a pajama shirt or shorts or something, like folded up behind all the papers. That's fucking weird. When the fuck did he get that hair is what I want to know. Anyway, like, I guarantee it was something creepy, like she was sleeping and he like he walked in and cut a piece of her hair off, a lock of her hair. He has like bundled up. It's so creepy. It's so gross. Anyway, okay. So she goes into the room, right? She's slowly, at least she's being slow about it. She's approaching her dad, and she's like, and he like turns around, and he's, oh! And then Dan comes in, right? And they discover that the fucking creepo doctor lobotomized him. He's got the same hole in the head that the dead guy did from the laser drill in the beginning. So he was lobotomized. So her dad is like, even though he's like been reanimated and stuff, he's not the fucking same, right? Okay. Jeffrey wakes up. He's like, oh, fuck, dude. He puts his glasses back on. The fucking creepo doctor with his decapitated head and headless body stole everything. His notes, the serum that was in the basement. He still has some serum in his room. Always gotta have that backup, you know? Dan comes down and he's like, what's up, bro? He's like, what happened here? And he's like, oh, you know, he was going to blackmail me, so I killed him. Well, Dan isn't fucking having any of it, right? Dan's like, you fucking psycho. And then Jeffrey lies to him and he says, he was going to come after you too. And then Dan's totally fine with it, right? Dan then tells Jeffrey, he's like, he's got this fucking weirdo folder on him, on Megan. That's weird. Let's go get this fucking creepo. All right. So I guess the head. Okay. You know, there's another thing I got to say. Somehow they make it back to his fucking office. One, without anybody noticing. I get that it's fucking nighttime. I get it. But how do you not notice something like this? People walk around at night. They do. How do you not notice that? Anyway, they make it back. The creepo fucking dead guy surgeon weirdo. For some reason, he has blood, just packets of blood in his fucking fridge. Yeah, just in case. You know what? It's probably fucking Megan's blood. Now that I think about it, it's probably Megan's blood because he's a fucking creepo weirdo. Anyway, it seems like his decapitated head needs the blood or something. I don't know. It's not explained, which is fine. This movie is a fucking ton of fun. Let's just keep going. He like the fucking body squirts the blood into the pan and the fucking head is like Anyway, he walks up to the glass, right? They do this in the worst fucking way possible. So let's just imagine for a second, the guy in the fucking like padded room, let's say he wasn't reanimated, right? Let's say he was just some crazy person. The one thing you don't want to fucking do is walk up to glass holding a decapitated head with no head on the body. That would freak somebody out, right? Especially if they're like mentally insane. Anyway, he totally does that, but again, it's one-way glass. Because the guy has been like lobotomized, apparently the creepo surgeon like has a bunch of control over him. Again, I don't know how the fuck that works. Regardless, whatever. It makes for fun. Fun, yay. He's holding up the head and he's like, it's time. That's how he talks now. Except for like one instance where he doesn't fucking talk like that. And we get to it. Oh my gosh. So he has like a statue of like a head with like a normal like medical statue. Like half of it's normal, half of it is like showing the insides and stuff so you can like compare or whatever. I don't know. He gets to the fucking door. He's going into the morgue. He's got like a medical bag. His head is in. And the security guard is like reading a porno mag or whatever. And he's like, corpse is like trying to sneak in. And the surgeon doesn't even look up. And he's like, is that you, creepo guy? And he's like, of course it's me. But he says it totally normal. So he can talk normal, but I guess it's hard, maybe. He makes it into the morgue, right? The fucking security guard looks around. He's like this. Reading his porno mag. He's like, I guess it's time for a break. We all know what he's gonna go do. Ah! Anyway, they make it into the morgue, right? The dead body, he's doing what he can. You know, he opens the bag and the head is like, that's better. He puts the head in the pan onto the table and stuff. And then he opens the fucking freezer door and he starts like pulling bodies in, right? So what I assumed was going to happen is that he was going to kind of decapitate the like hulked out guy's fucking body and like put his own body or his own head onto it and like have control of that body. That doesn't happen, right? And we'll get into it later, like super soon. It cuts back to fucking Dan not breaking in, but like knocking on the door of Megan's house. Megan opens the door, right? And Dan's like, I was so worried about you. You know, I just felt like something was wrong. It's very sweet. It's kind of a touching moment. Megan's like, I wanted to hate you so much. Well, fucking cut out the cute moment because her fucking reanimated dad shows up and he's like, ah! He fucking, yeah! He pushes Dan, right? And Dan's like, donk, bleh, falls down, he's knocked out. The dad like picks up Megan and he's bringing her to the morgue. So we cut back to the morgue. The decapitated body is like doing another lobotomy on one of the corpses. On the emergency exit, the doctor like knocks the dead doctor reanimated guy. He fucking knocks on the door, right? The decapitated head opens the door. He brings in Megan. Now we get into the part I disliked the most. It was so creepy and it's terrible. The dad, he puts Megan next to the decapitated head and the decapitated head's like, yeah! So as a creepo does, he fucking... my gosh. He tears the clothes off of Megan. She's unconscious right now, right? And they strap her to the table right next to the decapitated head, by the way. Not the best way to wake up. It cuts to back to Megan's house. Dan is all knocked out. Jeffrey's trying to wake him up like, Dan, come on, dude, what's wrong with you? Let's go. And then like he examines the wound on his head. He's like, you'll be all right. Fucking knock it off. Let's go. We cut back to the morgue. Megan wakes up, and obviously she's fucking freaked out. Her dad's there. There's a decapitated talking head next to her, and she's like, you know, one of the straps wasn't put on all the way, so she like, she breaks out, and she like hits the body, the decapitated body, wearing the fucking statue head thing. Well, that gets knocked off, so now she's surrounded. Decapitated head that's talking, decapitated body that's just fucking standing there now, and her dead dad, who's been reanimated. She's having a very bad day. Literally all Jeffrey's fault. But now we get into the creepiest part of the movie, right? So she's naked. She's on the bed. The decapitated head picks up the body, the head, and he's pushing it into her face. And she's obviously trying to fucking block this shit. You know, she's like, ah. The head is like, you will love me. Super creepy stuff. And then they're moving the head down her body, right? They move the head down to her, let's say, private area. And he's like, I love you. And like, because she's fighting, he's like, yeah, show me strength. And I love. And then they like start pushing the head towards that area, right? Not fucking cool. Well, Jeffrey shows up like a Bond villain himself. He shows up, he walks in, he's like, dude, you're being fucking weird. This is creepy. Like, why are you doing this? Well, everyone's attention is on Jeffrey. Well, Dan fucking sneaks in. He walks up to Megan. First thing he does is he covers her and he's like, fucking shut up. You're gonna ruin this for everyone, right? Fucking, we got a plan. It is the worst plan ever. The decapitated head, the creepo surgeon, is talking to Jeffrey, and they're like, what? Yeah, you know, fucking verbal warfare, right? And then this really cool scene happens. The head is like, you would dare come here to challenge me. And Jeffrey's like, I have a plan. Again, worst plan I've ever fucking seen. And the head is like, so do I. All the corpses are out of the morgue, like freezer, and they all go like this. Whoa! They all fucking sit up. It's a great shot. I love it. They've all been lobotomized. So essentially, the doctor, the creepo surgeon, he has like full control over these like reanimated guys, right? Well, they all get up and then, yeah. They've all been dead for like fucking forever though. So I'm not quite sure how it works. I feel like this is a movie you just don't take super serious. Anyway, it's a super big fight scene. Well, Jeffrey, his big plan was to inject the body with the syringe, but it's like super full of the liquid. Jeffrey, dude, you're not an athlete. You're a scientist. What the fuck did you think was going to happen? He goes for it and the fucking body with no head is like, just fucking grabs him. And Jeffrey's like, oh shit, this wasn't supposed to happen. Anyway, they get Jeffrey onto the table, all the like reanimated corpses, and they're gonna fucking lobotomize Jeffrey. Not good. So they're fighting. What you got to remember is Meg and Dan are still there, right? You know, they're coming after Megan, and Dan is like, yo, they're gonna kill her. And the fucking creepo doctor's like, it doesn't matter, I'll bring her back. You know, stuff like that. And she calls out to her dad, and the power of love fucking prevails, and the dad starts defending the daughter, right, from the other corpses. So the dad, oh gosh, it's so gross. The dad, he gets away from them and stuff. He grabs the creepo doctor's head and he's like, ah! he's crushing it like the mountain fucking from Game of Thrones, right? He's crushing the head, but then all the corpses, apparently they feel it too. Again, I don't know how the lobotomy thing works. They're all freaking out. Now's your chance to kind of get out of here, right? Well, Jeffrey fucking ruins it for everybody. Jeffrey's like, no, my plan will still work. He's like, I have a theory, right? And Megan is also trying to save her dad because obviously the fucking corpses start going after the dad for crushing, because he's crushing the guy's head. He's like, I have a theory. Overdose! He says it like a power move. And he injects the decapitated head, the creepo doctor's body, with the stuff. You know? Yeah. He injects the body. He gets it all in there, right? The decapitated body now is fucking freaking out. Oh, he's fucking swinging his arms and stuff. And well, now no one's on the dad. So the dad is still... Great shot of him crushing the head. He fucking chucks the head out the door, right? The security guard, he came back from his business, and he sees it. He looks in the room and he's like, what the fuck? He sees everything happening. He has the most human reaction I've ever seen. The fucking dead dad, he chucks the head out that's been crushed, and it hits the wall, and the security guard goes, fuck it. And he just fucking leaves. He fucking leaves. Again, super smart. I'd get the fuck out of there too. Again, but now the corpses, they're still alive. They're freaking out, right? They're still super strong. Well, the decapitated head, like the body that got the overdose, well, it gave it fucking like super duper powers, intestine powers. He's on the ground, the body, it's like, well, its fucking stomach like opens up and fucking the intestines come out and they wrap around Jeffrey. So now Jeffrey's in trouble. The fucking, the reanimated bodies, they knock something over, some like gas thing, and it's like filling up the room and it's suffocating the people who are still alive, Dan does what he can to save Jeffrey. He like can't get a hold of him though. One of the fucking reanimated guys, he's like at a power box. He's pulling shit. He's gonna fucking cause a big problem. So power starts like fluctuating at the hospital. Fucking Dan and Meg, they realize, okay, we're not gonna be able to save Jeffrey. So they start leaving. And Jeffrey, being the scientist he is, he's like, my notes. He fucking tosses them his notes because he wants his work to survive. I get it. Dan fucking takes it. He takes the doctor's bag, right? Anyway, the reanimated guys, they're fucking chasing him down. Dan and Meg try to make it to the elevator, right? The burnt body from earlier that fucking Dan couldn't keep his fucking hands off of in the beginning starts strangling Megan in the elevator. Dan doesn't know what to do, so he does what anyone does. He abandons Megan. Just kidding. He gets a fire axe, right? He pulls out the fire axe and Why he doesn't just go straight for the head? Because these things can re-die. Instead, he just cuts off the arm. Okay. And then he fucking Spartan kicks the fucking reanimated guy out of the elevator. Fucking Megan's dead. Fucking her neck is like all purple and stuff. Well, just like in the beginning, Dan starts he's doing compressions in the elevator. Elevator opens, he's carrying Megan. He's trying to get her to like a hospital room. He's like, So he puts her on the bed again with the doctor who lets everybody die, the female doctor from the beginning. They're checking, they're like, nothing we can do. Just kidding. They try, they're gonna shock her. Fucking Dan knows that she'll just fucking let anybody and everybody die. So he takes the shock pads and he's like, fucking boom, and then he goes like this. Megan, why does nobody ever shock twice? I could have sworn he shocked her twice. He doesn't shock her twice. He goes right back to compressions. Well, again, the doctor who lets everybody die, she's like, she's gone. Anyway, she's like, give up. And Dan is like, okay, I give up. I'm going to cry. I'm going to sit here, I guess. Everybody starts to like leave the room. He kisses a corpse. That's fucking weird. Well, he took the doctor bag. What's in that doctor bag, you may ask? The fucking reagent. So he does what anyone with grief does and stabs his dead girlfriend in the brain with a needle. Not really, like it looks really bad. He like obviously doesn't stab her where he needs to. Anyway, he puts the serum in her. It cuts to black with her screaming. Movie ends. It's over. I think there's two more, but I don't know if I want to watch the second one with Jeffrey not being in it, because Jeffrey Combs is so good. And I fucking swear I saw a lot of Wei-Yun in this character. It reminded me of Wei-Yun, the way he talked and stuff, the way he was. But this movie, one, it really stood the test of time. This movie's almost 40 years old. What was it? 1985, the effects still look really good. The practical effects and stuff, it still looks really good. Now, I don't know how it would do if it came out today, but regardless, I had a great time. Watching this fucking movie was a blast. I was so traumatized by Aquaslash. At the 30-minute mark in the movie, I moved my mouse to see where I was at, because more had fucking happened in 30 minutes of this movie than had happened in Aquaslash. I'm still upset. Anyway, this fucking movie, it stands the test of time. It's fun. The effects are fun. The story, it kind of, some stuff doesn't make sense. Like, why was the doctor able to reanimate the corpses that had been dead too long, Why did Dan not get super angry with Jeffrey about his fucking cat? Little stuff like that. Nothing really important to be upset about or anything. A lot happens in the movie. The pacing is very well done. It's very well done. It keeps your attention like crazy. The end's a little creepy with the doctor going to fucking town on Megan with his fucking cut off head. I did not like that. That was just gross. Like, it didn't need to be gross like that. I really like the characters. Megan is just always in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is really funny. Dan is good. Jeffrey Combs obviously fucking blew it out of the water. He was so good. He's so creepy. He's so just in his own world and will do anything to get what he wants. That's how I feel Jeffrey Combs is in this. I think I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10 because I like the acting. I like Jeffrey. I feel like it's kind of like a fresh take on the zombie genre because everyone has seen a ton of zombie movies, which, yeah, that's fucking cool, but it's always kind of the same thing. A bite, you turn, it's mainly stuff like that. But in this one, it just feels a little different. The whole, you have to administer the drug thing, they can only be dead for so long. Being able to control them, I liked it. I liked that it was different. I liked that there were consequences to Jeffrey just fucking pumping the fucking decapitated body full of that shit, that something bad happens, Overall, I really did enjoy this movie, and the rewatchability, I feel it has a lot of rewatchability. Not like you're gonna catch stuff that you missed in the beginning or the first time you watched it. I feel like it's just something you could watch probably once a year or once every couple years and have a good time. So yeah, overall, 7 out of 10. I definitely recommend it. Have fun. Watch it. It's worth watching. 100%. All right, guys, that's it for me, though. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Same thing, whatever. I don't know. See ya.